This time, Li Shu was basically determined, and the people from the Ten Commandments were already lurking here. So, the vibranium weapon is most likely here too. Thought here. Li Shu's heart was filled with excitement. After all, this is a vibranium weapon. Imagine Captain America's half-vibranium shield, which is basically an invincible defense in the early and mid-term. In the later stage, I encountered the ultimate boss, a ruthless man who slaughtered half of the life of the universe, otherwise it would be impossible to break it. Vibranium weapons are said to be weapons, but as long as they are used properly, they can also be armors, invincible armors in the early stage. Now, he just needs to leave for a while. Wait a bit later, go in the cobweb battlesuit, and steal the vibranium weapon. Then when the time comes, I will report this group of terrorists to the police with my real identity. In this case, he can also get a bounty, which is great. Thought here. With a smile on Li Shu's face, he was about to say sorry and leave here. The man glared at Li Shu and said viciously, I said, I have already checked, don't you King stand here, go and check other places. The smile on Li Shu's face froze slightly. Can. The other party is very arrogant. He changed his mind. After a while, he changed into the battlesuit and went in, first beat the group of guys, and then took the vibranium weapon. Pung. The man slammed the door shut. The strong wind hit Li Shu's face. After the burly man of the Ten Commandments closed the door, he walked towards the living room. In the living room, there were either standing or sitting a group of men with ferocious faces. The faces of these people were full of vigilance. Some have sharp daggers in their hands, others have cold pistols in their hands. When everyone saw the burly man who came back, their eyes were filled with questions. The burly man sneered. It's just a waste child, it's not the authorities who repair the sewers. It's really a slap in the face, I said it several times and didn't leave. Just at this time, dong dong dong, the door was knocked again. The burly man's steps suddenly stiffened. Next moment, the whole person was rage. He turned his head and strode towards the door, shouting, Can't understand what you say. It's really King Messi. I'll kill you today. He decided to give the brat some color to see. He just walked to the door. Boom. A loud bang erupted. The entire door was blasted. A scream. The burly man was hit by a huge force and flew out. It slammed into the living room wall. Puff. A mouthful of blood spurted out. The burly man fell heavily to the ground and kept coughing blood. This moment, the man only felt that all the bones in his body were broken, and the pain was incomparable. Swish swish. In the living room, one after another eyes instantly fell on the door. I saw an extremely handsome young man standing, grinning. The smile is very bright and sunny, like the dream teenager in the hearts of countless girls. And this young man's foot is slowly withdrawing from the air, as if the incident just now was caused by his kick. The boy is naturally Li Shu. He changed his mind. He decided to go straight to it. He doesn't want to act anymore. He just wanted to teach this guy a lesson right away. Otherwise, he will be very upset. Everyone in the Ten Commandments organization saw this scene. All their pupils shrank, and their hearts were full of shock. Did this boy do all of this? Kick people from the door to the wall opposite the living room, and there can be a distance of more than 10 or 20 meters between them. To kick a person directly out an astonishing distance of more than 10 meters, is this what a human can do? Isn't this what a running car can do? Especially when they saw the bright smile on the boy's face, they were even more horrified. Someone was seriously injured by a kick, and this guy still smiled so brightly, forming a sharp contrast. Li Shu smiled brightly and said, I was in a bad mood because of him, so you can't run away today. Hear this. Everyone's heart was slightly cold, and at the same time, their nerves were tense to the extreme. Immediately everyone took up their weapons. Swish swish. A dagger shone with cold light, revealing a ruthless sharpness. Someone immediately picked up the pistol in their hands and wanted to aim at Li Shu. Li Shu moved instantly, like a swift arrow. Whoosh, he rushed straight into the living room. Bang bang bang. Under the dual blessing of sharp spider telepathy and extremely fast speed, he predicted the shooting direction of the opponent in advance, and avoided bullets in advance. Ricochets flew off the walls, sparks scattered. In the living room, things were broken one by one. TV sets, glasses, coffee tables, dishes on the table, etc. Others were bruised by ricochet bullets and blood oozing out. And Li Shu was like a ghost, not a single bullet hit him. He stepped across half the living room, and instantly came into the hands of a gunman. Li Shu smiled and slapped his hand. I haven't made a ping yet, so you guys are going to make more moves. Is it okay to do this? Watching Li Shu approaching almost instantly, The man was terrified. "Stop!" A loud shout sounded from the door. Captain America came quickly after hearing the abnormal noise. Li Shu ignored it at all. Snapped. A slap hit the opponent in the face. His face was basically crooked, and blood foam mixed with his teeth flew out. Boom. The whole person flew out and hit the wall heavily. "Stop? What a fool with a key. Do you deserve it?" With a few. The power of this palm shocked everyone present. A slap slams a person against the wall, and the power is comparable to that of a wild boar, which is amazing. When the Ten Commandments organization saw this scene, their hearts were deeply frightened. This young man not only avoided every bullet, but his strength was comparable to that of a bull and a boar. It is simply an inhuman existence. Faced with such a person, they seem to have no chance of winning. Thinking of this, everyone's heart is only filled with fear. A member of the 10 Rings with a knife with a twisted expression. "Damn it. Why did we provoke such a horrible guy?" Another member of the 10 Rings, his gun-wielding hand was shaking. "Damn. Why is a maintenance worker so terrifying?" A 10 Rings member trembled. "Is this really a maintenance worker? Isn't he avenging our 10 Rings?" Seeing this, Captain America also took a breath. This guy is quite powerful. The speed is so fast, and the power is not small. This guy is definitely an ability. None of these people know. At this moment, Li Shu had already restrained most of his strength, and only showed less than 1/10 of his strength. Otherwise, the house would have been bombed long ago. People have long been beaten to pieces. Li Shu moved like a rabbit. Attack others. Fists, slaps, and casters take turns. A scream. A man flew out, spitting out blood and excruciating pain all over his body. Captain America doesn't understand what's going on. But he knew that he had to stop the two sides from continuing to fight, especially to stop Li Shu, an unidentified ability, from attacking ordinary people. Captain America shouted, "Stop everyone." With that said, he rushed into the crowd with a shield. Blows away the man with the gun. "See here." Li Shu's smile remained unchanged, but a little chilled. These are his sandbags for purging fire. This guy rushed to knock his sandbags flying, with his permission? Moreover, this guy stopped him at every turn. Did he really think he was the messenger of justice, commanding the leader of the audience? The 10 Jia people annoyed him. He beat them. Is there a problem? Li Shu thought it was fine. It was Captain America's finger pointing, which seemed to him to be a problem. From Li Shu's point of view, Captain America sometimes really has enough white lotus flowers. Li Shu flew to Captain America with a whip leg, and a faint voice sounded. "The person I'm about to beat, did you make you move?" The boy who originally seemed to be very friendly was now extremely domineering, and even a little unreasonable. Captain America was startled, but didn't have time to react at all. It blew up directly and hit the sofa. Li Shu did not pursue, as if blasting an inconspicuous fly. He rushed towards the 10 precepts again. A slap slapped one person again. Then attacked others. Captain America was a little annoyed when Li Shu slapped him again. He got up, shot Li Shu with his shield again, and glared at Li Shu. "I said it. Stop it. Look at the vibranium shield galloping." Li Shu's smile became more intense, and his voice became more secluded. "I'm really convinced, Lao Su." Li Shu didn't say anything about me, but directly spoke to Lao Su, which showed that he was impatient. Li Shu directly turned his palms into fists and released all his power. Boom. Air burst. Everyone felt a tingle. Hear the sound of bursting air. Everyone's face changed. Captain America's pupils shrank, and he felt something was wrong. In an instant, Li Shu punched the vibranium shield. Even the vibranium shield can greatly reduce power. But in front of Li Shu's terrifying punch, he still couldn't hold it. Hum. The shield emits a high-frequency hum. The shield removed most of the power, but the remaining power was amazing. Boom. Captain America blasted straight out. It hit the wall and made a big hole. Puff. A mouthful of blood spits out of Captain America's mouth. His eyes were full of disbelief. He's holding a vibranium shield. Terrible reduction effect on attacks. Since he held it in his hand, he has no advantage in the face of any attack. As a result, in this small room today, facing a boy's fist, it was completely useless. The opponent's attack hit him through the vibranium shield. So weird. Captain America groaned as he lay on the ground, feeling his bones shattered. It's been a long time since he's been injected with super serum that he's been hurt to this level. Yet Captain America didn't know that. His vibranium shield didn't fail, it was fully functional. It's just that Li Shu's fist is too heavy. It's a huge force of 60 tons. If it wasn't for the vibranium shield, he might have gone west. Li Shu rushed to the others in the room again. A burst of screams rang out. There was a rumbling sound. Blood splattered. The whole room became a catharsis for Li Shu. Suddenly, Li Shu accidentally hit a jet black dagger. Hum. The short sword hummed, directly dispelling most of his fist power, and then flew out and fell to the ground. Seeing this, Li Shu's eyes lit up. Vibranium weapons. Finally found this thing. Li Shu was going to ask the whereabouts of the vibranium weapon after he had taught everyone a lesson. Unexpectedly, it came out immediately, and this time, except for Li Shu, no one stood up. Even the super soldier Captain America, at the moment, groaned on the ground. After all, Li Shu's punch just now had no restraint at all. There was a groaning and screaming throughout the house. At this time, the unhappiness in Li Shu's heart has been cleared up a lot. He stepped forward and picked up the vibranium weapon. Don't put it on your waist. After doing this, he looked around with a small smile on his face. This smile now represents joy. All that's left is to trade these guys for money. And this smile fell in the eyes of the 10 Rings members, but it was like a demon smile, and there was only coldness and fear in their hearts. After all, this guy smiled softly, but turned out to be even darker than them. Every punch and palm almost shattered their bones, causing them to die. Li Shu smiled and said, "Since you wicked people have been subdued, the next step is to hand you over to the police." Coincidentally, just at this time, a rush of alarms went off. The police have arrived. When he was outside the house just now, he had already called the police and had already communicated about the bounty. Soon, the heavily armed policeman ran up. Entering the room, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The whole house was in an incomparable mess, as if it had been devastated by terrifying savage beasts. Walls cracked into craters, bullet craters were everywhere, and furniture broke. On the ground lay screaming strong men and some daggers and pistols. Fake. These are all terrorists. Who did it to be able to take care of so many terrorists? My God, is this a monster? The whole living room is destroyed like this. I thought there might be a fierce battle, but I didn't expect the enemy to lie down. The most eye-catching thing was the young man standing in the center of the living room. He was completely uninjured, which was out of tune with the whole scene. What did this boy do? But the thought was thrown out of their heads immediately. This kid is very clean, not like someone who has experienced fierce battles at all. Saw the police coming. Li Shu said with a smile, "I am the caller, and the people lying on the ground are basically terrorists." The police officer at the head is George, the chief of the New City Police Department, a middle-aged man with a resolute face. But Li Shu didn't know each other, so he didn't know that this man was his cheap husband. Chief George waved his hand. "Control everyone first and see if they are the 10 Commandments." A group of policemen swarmed in. George also walked in front of a member of the 10 Commandments. He flipped through the other party's clothes and instantly saw the 10 Commandments logo. The rest of the police officers also checked and found the 10 Commandments tattoos. This man has a 10-ring tattoo. This man also has the 10 rings tattoo. Seeing this situation, George basically understood that this was a den of the 10 Commandments. George looked at Li Shu and asked gently, "Are you starting to see people attacking these people? Can you describe it?" Li Shu shrugged. "I did it. In order to prevent these terrorists from threatening the society, I took them out of combat." Li Shu's words came out. The place was silent. Needle drop is audible. Countless amazed and unbelievable gazes were cast on Li Shu. George listened with a stiff expression. He looked Li Shu up and down. It looks like a normal teenager, and he doesn't want to be a murderer who can bring down so many people and cause beast-like damage to the house. The rest are also in disbelief. After all, the boy's body is so clean that there are no scars at all. This room is full of bullet craters, and the ground is full of bullets. If the teenager is fighting in this environment, how can he not be hurt a little? Just at this time, fake. A moment of fake broke the silence. "Captain America? Are you Captain America?" A police officer saw Captain America lying on the ground, a little disbelieving. After all, in his opinion, Captain America is an invincible legend, a totem figure who is called a god in war, and a superhuman who shoots planes and cannons. How can such a person fall? The rest of the people were shocked when they heard this. Captain America was beaten up in the crowd too. How come? The caller saw the shield beside him and picked it up quickly. It was Captain America's signboard, Vibranium Shield. So the identity of the man on the ground, Roar, is about to come out. That is Captain America. Captain America coughed a few times, wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, and stood up, forcing his body. "Yes, it's me." The policeman quickly supported Captain America. "Captain America, Why did you suffer so badly? He didn't finish his words, and suddenly a flash of inspiration occurred. He contacted the tragic situation at the scene, so he immediately said, Captain America, it's you. It turned out that you were fighting this group of vicious terrorists, and they were all cleaned up. No wonder you are so seriously injured. Having said this, the policeman showed a respectful expression on his face. The police at the scene also showed the same look. At the same time, the expressions he looked at Captain America were full of respect. As expected of Captain America, the conscience of our country is indeed very great. In order to solve the terrorists, we risk our lives. Captain America is really amazing. One person took down so many terrorists with guns and sharp blades, as expected of a superhero who shines in the war. Li Shu, who was beside him, heard these words. His head was black. These guys really know how to make up their minds, and one by one, they made up an epic masterpiece. But he didn't care too much. He only came here for two purposes, weapons and bounties. He is such a simple boy. When Captain America heard the praise from the people around him, his old face panicked. After all, he didn't clean up these guys. Most importantly, he is also the one who was cleaned up. Captain America coughed, his face slightly ugly. These are not made by me, these are all made by that boy. Hear this. The people who had been praising Captain America suddenly froze. The scene was silent again. Not Captain America, that teen. All eyes fell on Li Shu again. Looking at the boy who was out of place in the room, everyone's faces were full of horror. Outrageous. The whole room was destroyed like this, and it turned out that the perpetrator was clean without a trace, which was outrageous. The policeman who helped him looked at Captain America in astonishment. Then, the wound on your body. Heard here. Captain America felt even more embarrassed, and finally said with a wry smile, also, it was this teenager. I don't know what happened. I didn't know these guys were terrorists. I saw this young man get into a fight with other people, so I tried to stop it. Captain America didn't go on, he was really speechless. After all, whipping the corpse of oneself makes everyone feel uncomfortable. Captain America's answer was like a bomb, and the audience was instantly agitated. After all, who is Captain America? That's their spiritual totem, the real superhero, the real super soldier. Invincible to the iron-blooded man in the global war of the last century. The result was defeated, and it looks so miserable. They looked at the boy again. Suddenly his eyes changed completely. What kind of monster is this, so fierce? They didn't question Captain America's words. There's no need for Captain America to lie, after all, let alone in such a humiliating matter. George swallowed a mouthful of saliva, the corners of his mouth twitched. Really you did? Li Shu nodded indifferently. By the way, what about the bounty the police told me earlier? George. Are bounties the point? Defeat a litter of 10, plus a Captain America. That's the point. Okay. It is really unbelievable that this seemingly harmless animal in front of him can explode with such terrifying power. Subsequently, Li Shu went to the police station to make some confessions, and then he got $50,000. Compared with the simulation, I got 20,000 more bounties. The main thing is that this time he took out the 10 Jia dens, so he got an extra 20,000 knives. Li Shu held a small bag of money and pouted. The police are too digging. He took all the 10 ring dens and ended up with an extra 20,000 knives. Li Shu walked outside the police station. The police station was full of comments about him. You know, it's this boy who took over a heavily armed terrorist den and severely injured Captain America. Damn it, is it so inhuman? I can't see it at all, it looks like an ordinary child. In the eyes of these police officers, a high school student is indeed a child. It's too bad, this kid. Chief's office. The two stood in front of the shutters, looking at Li Shu outside. The police captain said, this kid is really perverted. He's just a high school student. It's too wild to cause so much damage and still be so calm. Chief George nodded slightly. It's wild, and this kid is quite a money spinner. Just now he was haggling with me. Opening his mouth was a bounty of 150,000 yuan, and slaughtering our police station like a fat sheep. He also said that he was risking his life and fighting for the people in the country in extreme fear. His clean clothes, how could he risk his life? Where does his calm batch of states seem to have a little bit of fear? The poor group of our police station has a lot of money to care for the dead brother every year. How can there be 150,000 for him? Year 09. Money does not have constant inflation in later life, and it is still very valuable. The Marvel world is too dangerous, so it's easier for the police to die in the line of duty. This also led to a large amount of funds being used to care for the decedent family, and the police station really did not have much money. Speaking of Li Shu, Director George was dumbfounded. Immediately, he said sternly, "I quite admire this kid, he is decisive, ruthless, calm, and very mature." Police Captain Pist smiled. "This kid really has something, a bit of a financial fanatic. By the way, this kid is quite handsome. He's still in high school, and he's a good match for your little princess, Gwen." When Director George heard this, he was furious. "I'm going to F***ku. This kid is so dark and cruel, how can he match my Gwen?" The police captain was speechless after hearing this. "I just said that I appreciate others, that they are decisive and ruthless, calm, but when I mentioned my daughter, I immediately changed my face." As expected of a daughter slave, seeing the other party glaring at him, the police captain quickly changed his words. Shing. This kid really doesn't fit in with the good girl in your family, and he really doesn't match up." Hear this. Chief George's expression softened a little. The two looked at Li Shu's back again and watched each other walk out of the police station. The other side. Shield building. Black Braised Egg Nick Fury was sitting on a chair, with the materials that his assistant Hill had just brought up in his hand. Above is Li Shu's information on solving the 10 Commandments and Captain America. Hey Bruden looked at the information, squinted his eyes slightly and said, "Good guy, he has another ability, and he is much stronger than Captain America." Hill said, "This boy is indeed very powerful, do I need to win over him?" The Black Marinated Egg nodded. "Naturally, it is necessary to win over, such a powerful ability must be used by S.H.I.E.L.D. This guy is a money junkie, we can get him with the money." As for Li Shu's serious injury to Captain America, the Black Marinated Egg didn't care too much. Captain America is a bit of a nosy after all. Besides, Li Shu is stronger than Captain America, and in the eyes of the Black Marinated Egg, the value is higher than that of Captain America, and he is even less likely to favor Captain America. In his eyes, there are only more powerful tools. Whoever has the greater ability can protect the Earth more, and he can be slightly biased towards whoever. Definitely, in fact, the difference is not big, they are all his tools. Hill asked, "How much is the right amount?" Black Braised Egg pondered for a while. "I can give him an annual salary of 300,000 knives. The annual salary of 300,000 knives is already a very high salary in the eyes of Black Braised Egg. Especially in this year 2009, it is completely regarded as a high-paid person. This amount of money should be considered an astronomical sum for an orphan boy." Black Braised Egg thinks that he can be said to be sincere. After speaking, a faint smile appeared on his face, as if he was holding a jiju. Hill nodded slightly. A young man who is not very deep in life, and very poor, should be able to win over. The Black Marinated Egg immediately got up and walked upstairs. He's going to meet his boss, a crypto friend, Security Council Secretary Pierce. After all, this kind of funding is allocated from above, so Pierce's approval is required. At the moment, Black Marinated Egg doesn't know that his close friend is actually a high-level executive of Hydra, the biggest second-fifth boy in S.H.I.E.L.D. The other side. When Li Shu got home, it was already night. There is only a lonely moon hanging in the sky, looking at the world. Li Shu took out the 50,000 yuan in the bag and piled it up with the 100,000 knives he had picked up before, like a hill. Seeing the money, Li Shu showed a satisfied smile. Then, he took out his real gains. A dark dagger, revealing a mysterious thick color. He took the short sword and swung it at a thick steel bar he picked up. The real cut iron like mud. Without any obstacle, the thick steel bar was cut off directly and fell to the ground with a clang. He looked at the section of the thick steel bar, which was extremely smooth. Seeing this, the corners of the mouth are slightly warped. It is indeed a weapon made by vibranium. It is really powerful. In addition, the defensiveness of the thing is not to mention. His previous 60 tons of extreme force hit the vibranium shield without leaving a trace at all, and even slashed a lot of power, and in the end only seriously injured Captain America. Li Shu was very satisfied with this, and he would just find someone to make a scabbard later. After doing this, he looked at the cooldown time. There's more than an hour of cooldown. During this time, he just had a meal. He hadn't eaten dinner yet, and he was already hungry. Li Shu took out a dozen full-sized steaks from the refrigerator, and then took out some fresh vegetables. After a while, in front of you is a hill-like steak, and a large pot of boiled vegetable salad. So much food, it only took Li Shu a while before it swept away like a storm. Done with this. The cooldown is finally over. The cooling time is over, do you want to perform a new simulation? Seeing this, Li Shu licked his lips, a little excited. After all, he is now blessed by Child of Luck. I don't know what good ability will be randomly given to him. I don't know what will happen in this simulation. Simulation. Please choose 3 simulation abilities. Stingy. White, Gunsman. Green, Brave. Green. Cold-blooded Demon. Purple, Scholar. Blue. Open-minded Enthusiasm. White. Li Shu looked at the 20 abilities with joy on his face. 9 white, 7 green, 3 blue, and 1 purple. Compared to before, most of them are white, with a few green and blue abilities. This random result is much better. Sure enough, the effect of curing, Child of Luck, is still very obvious. Comfortable. A blue ability, Scholar, will bring him a lot of influence. I don't know what this purple ability can bring him. He was very much looking forward to it. Just the name. Kinda weird. Cold-blooded Devil. He immediately looked at all the abilities carefully, focusing on 3 blue abilities and 1 purple ability. Cold-blooded Demon Head. Purple. You are cruel and cold-blooded by nature, and you will do anything to become stronger. Through crooked ways, your strength grows rapidly, but it is easy to go crazy and be attacked by the mainstream. Swordsman. Blue. You have strong kendo ability, and you are always quick to learn swordsmanship. Attractive. Blue. You have good charm, and both men and women are more likely to fall for you. Scholar. Blue. You have a good research ability and research spirit, which enables you to better explore your potential. As for other green abilities, Li Shu didn't really care. After all, under the same conditions, he would definitely choose an ability with a higher level, because the effect would be stronger. Cold Blood Demon is the only purple ability this time. From the description, you can understand that if you choose this ability, this simulation will definitely go down the road of no return. After all, this ability can seriously distort a person's character. If it is solidified, he will definitely not solidify this ability on himself, and will distort himself. You say that the positive ability of being calm and observant affects yourself, and he can accept that. This kind of negative distorted character is not necessary. But if it's just a simulation, it's not a problem at all. The only purple ability determines that this ability must be selected. Then there are the other 3 blue abilities. Swordsman. This ability is obviously to improve swordsmanship ability. He just got a short sword. Therefore, improving his swordsmanship ability is also a good choice. As for Quite Charming, this ability may be used to trigger certain plots. After all, in the game, the charm value is used to trigger the mission plot or something. The charm ability here may have the same effect. This is also a good choice for triggering unexpected events and the like. The remaining one is Scholar, which has the ability to improve and perfect certain abilities. According to his plan, what he wants to do next is to supplement his shortcomings. So, Scholar. This ability can help him very well. Therefore, he will definitely choose this ability. The only difficulty in choosing is between Swordsman and Charming. After tangled for a while, Li Shu finally chose the ability Quite Charming. After all, his fighting ability has now reached the master level, and he does not have such a strong need for swordsmanship for the time being. On the contrary, the ability Quite Charming is full of unknown, making Li Shu very curious about what events will be triggered. Kind of like opening a blind box. Li Shu admitted that he had gambling elements. But that's what's interesting. I don't know what kind of situation, Cold Blood Demon, plus, Scholar, plus a Quite ability, will cause. Thinking of this, Li Shu had some expectations. I sorted out my thoughts again and determined the ability I needed to choose. He opened his mouth and said, I choose the abilities, Cold Blood Demon, Scholar, and Quite ability. The ability selection is complete. Start the simulation. Day 1. The world is dangerous, and you are full of a sense of crisis. You start thinking and researching how to improve your strength faster. Second day. You start to try various methods such as electric shock, high pressure, high temperature, etc. to stimulate the growth of spider ability. These methods are extremely painful, and you are crazy and cruel to endure these unbearable pains for ordinary people, and find a way for yourself to improve yourself quickly. See here. Li Shu's eyes twitched slightly. As expected of a cold-blooded devil, it was only the second day that it showed signs. He even frantically performed experiments such as electric shocks and fires on himself. Thinking of this, he understood that it was absolutely impossible for him to solidify this ability. Otherwise, thinking of the consequences, Li Shu shuddered. Doing experimental research, etc., should be the ability of Scholar to play a role. The third day. You lurked at the gate of the school, captured and imprisoned the frozen man alive, and began to study him, wanting to replicate his experiments and give yourself the frozen ability. The research process was bloody, and Frozen was in pain. He even begged you to kill you, ruthlessly ignoring his pain. In order to do better experiments, you secretly searched for homeless people to do human experiments. The mortality rate of the experiment was extremely high. the 3 homeless people who came here today all died. Before, I still exchanged Frozen Man for rewards, but this time, I directly captured Frozen Man alive and conducted bloody and cruel research. He even asked homeless people to do human experiments, killing 3 people in one day. At this moment, the cruel side of the cold-blooded devil was fully displayed. Day 6. Through extremely painful methods such as electric shocks and overloaded exercise, you were pleasantly surprised to find that the speed of spider ability improvement was much faster than before. In addition, you find that the ruthless self-researching ability is stronger. Researching the ability to become stronger is why you can quickly research this painful quick upgrade method. You start training yourself with these shocks, overloads, and other ways that are full of pain, and you're often in so much pain that your muscles cramp and you scream. Under the dual effects of Scholar and Cold Blood Demon, he successfully developed a painful and rapid way to improve. I just don't know how fast this rapid improvement is. Li Shu touched his chin and thought. See the second paragraph for description. Li Shu narrowed his eyes slightly. Research ability is stronger? According to previous experience, researching ability is actually the embodiment of the ability, Scholar. Therefore, if the research ability is stronger, it means that the effect of the ability, Scholar, is stronger. It's just that, Scholar, as still the blue ability, the level has not been improved, and it stands to reason that the effect cannot be changed. But the effect here is that it has changed, it has become stronger. This shows that there are external factors that have caused the ability of Scholar to become stronger. So, what external factors lead to the enhancement of the Scholar ability effect? The sudden change made Li Shu's expression serious. After simulating for so long before, the effect of the ability, Scholar, has not been strengthened. As a result, after only a few days of simulation, the effect of the Scholar ability was strengthened, and there were no other signs. The only difference is the ability. He carried 2 new abilities, Cold-Blooded Demon and Charming. So this external factor should be brought about by these 2 abilities. Li Shu's eyes fell on the first half of the sentence when researching ability to become stronger, the ruthless self. The point is to be ruthless, combined with the ability of Cold-Blooded Demon. So Li Shu speculates that one effect of this purple ability, Cold Blood Devil Head, is to enhance the effect of other abilities. Only in this way can the sudden increase in the effect of Scholar be explained. Thinking of this, Li Shu felt a hint of surprise in his heart. After all, if the effect of Scholar is enhanced, the research ability will be stronger, and his ability will be better enhanced. However, when I saw myself using electric shocks to stimulate myself, I finally had muscle spasms and screamed. He felt a chill down his spine. Not only is he cruel to others, but he is also cruel enough to himself, as expected of a devil. Day 7. You use electric shocks, overloaded exercise and other pain-filled methods to train yourself, and your strength is rapidly improving. You continue to do human experiments, and these days, 2 fresh lives have died in your hands. Decedents are homeless people who don't care, plus the small numbers don't attract anyone's attention. Cruel human experiment, let you add a little experience of replicating Iceman experiment. Day 8. You use electric shocks, overloaded exercise and other pain-filled methods to train yourself, and your strength increases rapidly. You continue to do cruel human experiments without attracting attention, and you add a little experience of replicating Iceman experiments. Day 16. After 10 days of devil training, your ultimate strength is increased by 1 ton, and the effect is remarkable. Your ultimate strength is 61 tons. You continue to do cruel human experiments without attracting attention, and you add a little experience of replicating Iceman experiments. On the 16th day, his ultimate strength was finally raised. In only 10 days, it has increased by 1 ton. This increase in efficiency simply took off. In the previous training, it was basically 1 ton per month, and in the later stage, it was only increased by 1 ton in the past 2 months. And now, through this training method to torture himself, the efficiency has increased at least 3 times. On the Iceman experiment side, there is no breakthrough progress for the time being. In addition, because the number of homeless people captured is relatively small at present, it has not attracted the attention of others. But if it goes on like this, it will definitely be exposed at that time. Thinking of this, Li Shu raised his eyebrows slightly. This kind of cruel experiment will definitely not be allowed in society, and it will definitely be backlashed at that time, causing mainstream attacks and even devastating blows. I just don't know if ice ability can be researched before backlash. Day 26. After 10 days of devil training that is worse than death, your ultimate strength has been increased by 1 ton, and the effect is remarkable. Your ultimate strength is 62 tons. You continue to do cruel human experiments without attracting attention, and you add a little experience of replicating Iceman experiments. The third month. You heard the news of the birth of the lizardmen, which aroused your interest, and you began to secretly investigate the traces of the lizardmen. After the devil training of life is worse than death, your ultimate strength is increased by 6 tons, and the effect is remarkable. Your ultimate strength reaches 68 tons. In order to do the Iceman test, you have caught a lot of homeless people during this time, which has caused the vigilance of homeless people. They began to try to hold groups and rest in more conspicuous public places, which greatly increased the difficulty of finding your experimental subjects. You start trying to capture other people for human testing, and you target young people from out of town who come to New York alone. A large number of human experiments have accumulated a lot of experience for you, but there is still no hope of success. You are more impatient, more crazy, and increase the intensity of human experiments. This month, the lizard man was born, and he started looking for the lizard man. The reason for looking for the lizard man is obviously for the lizard potion. After all, the lizard potion can bring amazing regeneration ability, and the broken limbs can be regenerated, which is a very powerful regeneration ability. Although the side effects are quite big, turning into a lizard man and distorting his personality, but the side effects can be slowly eradicated through research. Side effects are secondary issues, the main thing is that you have to get the drug first. In addition, the problem he was worried about before began to show signs, that is, the non-stop hunting will cause the alertness of the outside world. The number of homeless people kept decreasing, and the group of homeless people was the first to react, so his hunting became more difficult. In addition to the alarm raised by the homeless, it may also raise alarm in others privately. The difficulty of hunting led him to expand the scope of hunting, and began to attack young people from other places who came to New York alone. The reason why they attacked this group of people is obviously because these people are helpless in the local area, and they do not have too close contact, so the probability of attracting attention from the outside world is less than hunting local people. The reason why it was young, he guessed, was that young people were stronger and better able to withstand experiments. By now, thunderstorms are more likely. As the probability of thunderstorms increases, the experiment of freezing ability has not seen the light of day. This is bad news for Li Shu. Seeing this, Li Shu frowned slightly. The only good news, just 2 months of training. His ultimate strength has successfully grown by 6 tons. This growth rate is really fast, with an increase of 8 tons in less than 3 months, an increase of almost 1/6 of its strength. 4th month. Lizardmen frequently commit crimes. You find the right time, in an attack, you arrive in time wearing a cobweb battlesuit to capture them. After this battle, you won the title of Spider-Man, became famous in New York City, and became a superhero in people's minds. Your ruthless evil intentions and charm have formed a unique villain charm, which convinced the lizardmen. He said he followed you and handed over the lizard potion in his hand. Seeing this, Li Shu was slightly taken aback, and his heart was straight, roar. The devil has become a hero in people's minds. This picture is really funny. The devil Li Shu had a very simple idea, just for the lizard potion in the hands of the lizard people, but he did not expect to operate it, but instead became a superhero. Plus, at the moment Peter hasn't become Spider-Man yet, he's 9 months away from being born. So Li Shu in the cobweb battlesuit became Spider-Man, taking away Peter's future title. Seeing this, Li Shu was dumbfounded. He then turned his attention to the last paragraph of the simulation description. The devil Li Shu took advantage of the villain's charm to directly take the lizard man as his subordinate, and the other party voluntarily handed over the lizard potion. Li Shu was shocked when he saw this operation. Can this be done? He carefully analyzed the description. He probably guessed the source of the villain's charm, which should be the combination of cold-blooded devil and pretty charming to form the villain's charm. After all, it's written above, and the ruthless evil intention and the charm are integrated to form a unique villain's charm. Li Shu touched his chin. It seems that if different abilities are put together, chemical effects may occur, resulting in new effects. Cold-blooded demon head, effects, quite charming, turning this charm into the villain's charm and attracting the villain. Then if it is a positive energy ability plus, attractive, it may produce decent charm and attract decent. Think for a while. Li Shu continued to read. The 5th month. The lizard medicine has great side effects, and you did not use it rashly. You devote some of your energy to research, such as eliminating its side effects, and the lizardmen assist you in your research, which speeds up your research process. Soon, the lizardmen were surprised to find that your thinking is unrestrained, like a divine help, and you can always solve technical difficulties with intuition. Without you, it is difficult for him to go further. You can clearly see the light of the lizard potion, you can feel it, and soon you will be able to develop the perfect potion to eliminate the side effects. You lament that this is much easier than the Iceman experiment, but you haven't given up on the Iceman experiment, because you found out through research that Iceman has a very high power ceiling. Seeing this, Li Shu's eyes lit up. Lizard potion really eliminates side effects. This also means that as long as time is enough, he can develop the perfect lizard medicine, which only enhances the ability of physical regeneration, and will not cause alienation. In this way, his survival ability will be stronger. According to the description, this should be the credit of the scholar ability. After all, the lizardmen said that without the devil Li Shu, it would be difficult for him to go further and break through many technical difficulties. Li Shu clicked his tongue slightly. This ability is indeed a bit of a fraud. Definitely, it may also be because of the enhancement, which caused the scholar's ability to eliminate the side effects of the lizard medicine. Li Shu had to sigh. Fortunately, he had foresight and chose not to inherit Lao Shizi, ascetic, but chose scholar. Otherwise, he still can't handle the lizard potion. In addition, with the assistance of Lizardman, the inventor of the potion, the development of the potion has been accelerated, so that the perfect lizard potion can be released faster. This is also good news. After all, there are many dreams in the night, but I just don't know if it can be researched in a few months. Li Shu is very much looking forward to this thing. After all, this thing can greatly enhance his survival ability. Limb regeneration, fast healing. Li Shu continued to look down. 6th month. During this time, the disappearance of young people from other places also began to ferment, and it began to attract attention from the outside world. You have to restrain yourself. But your Iceman experiment requires a lot of living specimens. As a result, you expanded the scope of hunting again, and you included the most vicious criminals and fugitive wanted criminals as hunting targets. In society, the most vicious criminals and wanted criminals are disappearing, and your Spider-Man is even more famous in New Zealand, and even radiated to the whole country. You have become a famous superhero, worshipped by countless people. Criminals are timid because of your name, definitely not your intention. Criminals become your experiment material, and their money becomes your black money. Even hunting criminals, your experiments still have material gaps. So you bribed the warden and the prison doctor to buy death row prisoners from them, but at a huge cost, but fortunately you have a lot of black money. You continue your bloody human research, constantly looking for a breakthrough. Seeing this, Li Shu's eyes twitched a few times. Good guy. The devil Li Shu had to expand his hunting range in order to get materials for human experiments, but in order to reduce the risk, he chose to hunt criminals. After all, hunting criminals will not trigger backlash as easily as hunting normal people, and mainstream tolerance is higher. After all, the alternative superhero Punisher is an example, killing criminals constantly, but still getting good, no problem. In the end, I didn't expect that, after such a hole, the devil became a big hero known to every household. Li Shu's mouth twitched a few times. The devil is still hunting homeless people and young people from other places. After all, the demand for experiments is too great. So he is essentially a ruthless devil, but it is just a coincidence that he wears a hero's hat. This scene made Li Shu feel a strong sense of separation. 7th month. The lizard medicine made a breakthrough, eliminating the side effects of alienating and distorting the user's spirit, leaving only the side effect of alienating the user's body and turning it into a lizard man. 8th month. After further research, you found that if you eliminate the side effects of the drug alienating the user's body, it will also enhance the telepathy ability and control all reptiles within a 3-kilometer radius. This unexpected surprise makes you happy, and you continue your research. The research is going extremely well, and in 5 months at the most, you can be successful. Compared to the slow progress of the Iceman experiment, the lizard potion is obviously much faster. The side effect of twisting the mind has been eliminated, and only the side effect of turning a man into a lizard man remains. In addition, lizard potion originally had the effect of telepathy, which mainly controlled reptiles within a certain range. As long as the last side effect is eliminated, this telepathy ability can also be enhanced, doubling the range of 1.5 kilometers to 3 kilometers. Li Shu showed a smile, which was indeed a pleasant surprise. At most 5 months, that is, the 13th month at the latest, he will be able to obtain the perfect lizard potion. For a simulation, 5 months is a little while. Thinking of this, Li Shu felt a little excited. He continued to look down. 9th month. After 6 months of painful training, your training has achieved remarkable results, successfully lifting 18 tons, raised the ultimate strength to 86 tons. In addition, the continuous disappearance of homeless people and young people from other places has aroused the vigilance of a few people, and they began to try to connect the two. Seeing the description of the simulation, Li Shu's eyes were full of joy. Good guy. Over the past 6 months, I have lifted 3 tons per month, for a total of 18 tons of ultimate strength. 18 tons, almost the power of a normal Spider-Man. Li Shu also has to say that this training method of life is worse than death does have something. However, this training method means that the devil can persevere and let him do it. It should be difficult for him to persevere. After all, life is not as simple as death. Seeing the back, Li Shu touched his chin. Some people have linked the homeless to the disappearance of young people out of town. The thunderstorm is getting closer. Li Shu smashed his mouth. The devil, you have to speed up. Month 10. The probability of exposure in human trials is greater, causing you to be very anxious, and you need to speed up the research process. This month, Green Goblin was born and began to do evil. Spider-Woman made many shots, but he failed to win the opponent. You are targeting the biological genius Green Goblin, and with his addition, your experimental progress should be accelerated. 11th month. You find the right time to defeat and capture Green Goblin. You use your villain's charm to subdue him. With the like-minded Green Goblin on board, your bloody Iceman experiment is accelerated. Plus, you defeated and captured Green Goblin, making your Spider-Man even more famous. You have won many laudatory titles such as New York City's Conscience, Criminal Buster, and so on. You have almost become a household name superhero in the country, and countless people praise you. The 12th month. After a person dies, you finally created the first Iceman by chance. It's just that the probability of converting people into Iceman is extremely low, only 2%, and the rest of the chances are death. But you're not depressed, you're frantically excited. Because you have achieved a huge breakthrough from 0 to 1, you finally see the light. You just have to keep refining the experiment, increasing the probability, and changing Iceman's weakness for having to live in low temperatures. You continue to study hard. This month, Peter Parker turned out, because you took away his Spider-Man title and became famous, so the new Peter was called Little Spider-Man. In addition, Little Spider-Man promotes to the outside world. Spider-Man is his idol and belief. He will strive to become a superhero like you. Good guy. Got another villain, Green Goblin, with 2 villains. This villain charm is quite useful. Looking at the development trend, this devil will not become a villain leader or something. Li Shu looked weird. With the help of Green Goblin, the devil's Iceman experiment finally broke through. Finally successfully transformed ordinary people into Iceman, able to use freezing ability. It's just that the death probability of the current transformation is too high, and it needs to continue to be improved. Not easy, this Iceman experiment. I feel that if I don't break through, I'm going to drive a madman. Li Shu also clicked his tongue slightly. Peter got the title of Little Spider-Man, no problem, but something feels wrong. In the end, Little Spider-Man regards the devil Li Shu as his idol and belief, and he has to learn. Seeing this, Li Shu's expression became very strange. This does. If Little Spider-Man knew the essence of the devil, would his mind explode? Don't drive the simple Little Spider-Man crazy. This is the content of the 12th month. Next, is the 13th month. This month, the perfect lizard potion is coming out. Li Shu's eyes flashed with excitement and fiery. Under the watchful eyes of Li Shu, a new simulation is described. 13th month. After a long period of sleepless research, you and the lizardmen have successfully developed the perfect lizard potion. You gleefully swallow the potion. You have successfully acquired the powerful flesh regeneration ability, as well as the telepathy ability to control reptiles. In addition, the ultimate strength skyrocketed by 20 tons. The physical potential is further improved again, but the effect is not very obvious, and the ceiling is raised by 20 tons at most, because you already have a more powerful strengthening version of the spider ability before. You immediately cut off one of your own arms to experiment, and within a minute, the terrifying wound was healed. After more than 10 hours, a brand new arm grew out. You have succeeded, and the lizardmen's reverence for you has grown. You have the technology to remove the side effects of the lizard potions, but you don't use them on the lizardmen, because you know that he is not born evil, unlike you. Once he gets rid of the side effects, he becomes a good man, which is not in your interest. Definitely, the current lizardmen don't want to remove the side effects. After all, the bad guys won't take the initiative to wash away their evil thoughts. You are not satisfied with the regeneration speed of severed limbs, you want faster regeneration speed, and you continue to optimize the potion. Finally researched, and successfully took the ability to get the perfect lizard potion. In other words, when the simulation is completed, he will have this power. Seeing that the devil had taken the medicine, he cut off his hand without saying a word to test the effect. Li Shu's mouth twitched a few times. This guy is really too fierce. For the experimental effect, he cut off his arm on the spot. Too unhuman. How painful is this? Li Shu's back was slightly cold. This guy is really cruel to himself. After seeing it for more than 10 hours, the arm grew out, and Li Shu felt even happier. It only took more than 10 hours for the broken arm to return to its original state. This ability is really powerful. Maybe not as good as Wolverine and Deadpool, but being able to break limbs and reborn in less than a day is quite powerful. And, after taking the lizard potion, his strength skyrocketed by 20 tons, directly increasing the strength of a normal Spider-Man. The ceiling is also raised by 20 tons again, and the potential improvement is not much. But this is normal. After all, the normal strength of the lizardmen is only 20 to 40 tons. Broken limb reborn, telepathy, 20-ton extreme power surge. Comfortable. Li Shu's face was full of smiles. However, the devil is not satisfied with the regeneration speed of more than 10 hours, and he plans to shorten this time. Seeing this, Li Shu nodded with satisfaction. Although the devil is cruel and ruthless, his work ability and work attitude are simply unbelievable. Li Shu couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. The 14th month. After extremely hard experiments, you successfully increased the success rate of the Iceman experiment from 2% to 10%. After breaking the breakthrough from 0 to 1, your experimentation progressed by leaps and bounds. Month 15. After extremely hard experiments, you have successfully increased the success rate of the Iceman experiment from 10% to 25%. In addition, after a long period of painful training, you have gained a lot. Your ultimate strength has increased by 18 tons again, plus the 20 tons of lizard potion surged. You now have a limit of 124 tons of ultimate strength. See the progress of the Iceman experiment also start running. Li Shu was a little happy. It seems that the power of freezing is not far away. In addition, after another 6 months of painful training, he gained 18 tons of extreme strength again, plus 20 tons of the lizard medicine. He directly raised the ultimate strength to a terrifying level of 124 tons. You know, Spider-Man is only 50 tons after training hard. After turning on the protagonist's halo, it was only raised to 100 tons, and it was already called the Little Hulk. And now, he has exceeded 100 tons, and even has one more normal Spider-Man. Most importantly, he is still growing, and this is not the limit. Li Shu is really a Little Hulk now. The 16th month. The disappearing homeless and young people from other places have attracted the attention of the outside world. People understand that someone is hunting these people specifically. The police and the FBI also stepped in to investigate the disappearance. You can only be more careful. Your hunting speed is again slowed down, but your experimental progress is greatly reduced. It only takes a month for your success rate to increase from 25% to 30%. You are in a hurry and start thinking about countermeasures. Month 17. You are ready to expand the geographical scope of hunting, no longer limited to the state of New Jersey. But to hunt material in more places, you need more people. You have your sights set on villains, Dr. Octopus, Electro, Killer, Whiplash, and more. You used the villain's charm and interest to subdue these people and let them successfully go to various places to hunt materials for you. Your experiment progress has resumed again, and the experiment success rate has increased from 30% to 50%. You are very excited. On the other hand, the FBI has also investigated the reduction of death row inmates in the prison, and they began to investigate further. Li Shu looked at the simulation description. The chances of thunderstorms are increasing. The disappearance has been fermented and attracted the attention of the outside world. Even the police and the FBI sent people to investigate. Even the FBI finally got to the jail. With the means of the FBI, it should soon be investigating that someone bribed the warden to buy death row prisoners. In this way, the FBI is closer to the devil. Seeing this, Li Shu was slightly worried. After all, if the FBI succeeded in revealing the devil's story, the experiment would definitely be greatly affected, or even interrupted. Because human society will definitely not allow the devil to go unpunished, and it will not allow a demon who has killed so many people to continue to exist in the world. He is bound to suffer the craziest and most severe obliteration in human society, and all aspects of society will release a lot of resources to deal with him. He will truly face the dilemma of being the enemy of the world. Not to mention the interruption of the experiment, whether the devil can survive or not is a question. Out of caution, the devil had to restrain himself, but because of this, the research process was slowed down. Because of this, the devil had to find a way to make up for it in other ways, so he began to recruit troops and let more criminals send him experimental materials from all over the country. And in one fell swoop the success rate increased to 50%. Seeing this operation, Li Shu's mouth twitched a few times. Good guy. It's time to become a villain leader. Dude, this monster does have something. No, This mother f asterisk cur shouldn't be called a devil. Gotta be called the Demon King. Li Shu didn't know, he would be a prophecy. Month 18. With your long-term perseverance and maddened hunting of criminals, you have successfully reduced the crime rate in New York City by 90%. Become the city with the lowest crime rate in the whole world. You have created a miracle. You have made the name of Spider-Man resound throughout the world. You have made the name of Spider-Man the hanging sun. You become the most reputable superhero, and even overwhelm people's favorite superhero homeland. People are so fanatical about you that there is even a slogan. There are no two suns in the sky, there is only one sun, Your Excellency. Some people even say that if you go to participate in the General Commander competition, you can get 100%. See here. Li Shu was dumbfounded. This Nima what god unfolds the rhythm. He directly became the most prestigious superhero, and even overwhelmed the natives. Although the people of the motherland are very perverted, and even in the middle and late stages of the popular support rate, but in the early stage, he has a perfect character. At this stage, the prestige of the motherland in this world is almost equal to Superman in the DC world. It is the most famous and admired superhero in the world. As a result, the people of the motherland with such a perfect character were crushed by the devil. Even people say, there are no 2 days in the sky, only the king is the sun. People who don't know, think this is the leader of all mankind. This unfolding rhythm directly made Li Shu look stupid. But Li Shu thought about it. There is a feeling that although everything is unexpected, it is completely reasonable. After all, the devil is a very strict and hardworking person, racking his brains for experiments, forgetting to eat and sleep. The way to find material is constantly limited, and hunting criminals has become a very important part. Therefore, with the serious and rigorous attitude of the devil, he will definitely catch the criminals and hunt them with all their might. According to the fierceness of the devil, the criminals in New York City, one by one, can't escape. So naturally, the crime rate in New York City dropped to an unimaginable level. As a result, the devil naturally became the most famous superhero. Li Shu rubbed his stiff face. This development route, he really did not expect. So f asterisk king weird. Li Shu let out a sigh of relief and continued to watch. New simulations emerge. Month 19. You know that big events will happen in the 21st and 24th months, especially the 24th month, when the Spider Queen will cause trouble. In order not to interfere with the research process and avoid being killed, you are going to study outside for a while. You first came to the capital HWA Song to step on the spot. This is the transportation center, and it will be easy for criminals to transport materials. You meet a native of the motherland who is filming. Although he is far away from you, you can feel the extremely strong aura of death, which is invincible. You gave up HWA Song and finally chose Boston, POW. 20 months. Through painstaking research, you have increased the success rate of the Iceman experiment from 50% to 70%. You are one step closer to success. In addition, you have also successfully conquered Jin Bing, the extreme emperor of New City. However, most of your subordinates don't know your true identity, except for a few core members who know you are Spider-Man. As you conquer more and more villains, you gradually have the title of Demon King. The name of the Demon King gradually spread, and it became more and more important. The 21st month was the day Loki invaded Earth. The 24th month was when the Spider Queen crushed New York City. In the face of these two times, the devil is ready to run away in advance to avoid being affected. As soon as I went to HWA Song, I met people from my motherland. In the face of the motherland, it is still a feeling of invincibility. As expected of a deteriorated Superman. I don't know how far I have to grow to be able to eliminate this feeling of invincibility. Li Shu touched his chin. He remembered that the Superman in the movie version had a 1,000-ton level in the early stage. After a series of growth, especially after the rebirth of the mother box, it collapsed directly to the 10,000-ton level. It is not known how many tons the motherland's strength is, but Li Shu estimates that it is at least 1,000 tons. Otherwise, it will not give him the feeling of being completely invincible. Thoughts flew for a while, and Li Shu took it back. Because of the people of the motherland, the devil finally gave up HWA Song as his base and went to POW. Subsequently, he reigned in Jin and. Seeing this, a playful smile appeared on Li Shu's face. In the previous simulation, Jin also wanted to accept him as his subordinate. As a result, now, the situation has just turned over, and Jin has become his subordinate. In addition, as the devil continues to subdue the villain, there is actually an extra title of devil. Seeing this, Li Shu clicked his tongue. This devil really has something. The most dazzling superhero is him, the light of justice is him. The boss of all the villains is also him, the villain Demon King. Simply. 20 months. The FBI successfully investigates that someone is constantly buying death row from prisons. As soon as the news came out, it immediately caused quite a stir. People linked the disappearance of homeless people and young people from other places with the purchase of death row prisoners, and suddenly felt that there was a huge amount of conspiracy behind it. The connection of the three things has completely fermented the fishing boat, causing huge amounts of sensation. People demanded a thorough investigation of the matter. The FBI formed a task force and conducted further investigations on the purchase of death row inmates, trying to find the criminals, but no suspects were found. You are using black money, and the identity is kept secret, and the FBI has no more clues. But you understand that no matter how cautious you are, you will always leave traces of the cobweb horse, and you have a great sense of urgency and speed up the research progress. However, the prison channel is cut off, and you can only ask your subordinates to bring more materials from all over the country. The purchase of death row inmates finally came to light. But fortunately, the devil is cautious in doing things, and he uses black money, so he has not been found for the time being. This is only a temporary concealment. As long as people start to schedule a large number of resources for investigation, it will be exposed sooner or later. Because as long as people act, they will definitely leave traces, not to mention long-term actions, it is easier to leave flaws. Li Shu frowned slightly. The devil must speed up his pace, otherwise he might not be able to get the Iceman ability when it is exposed. 21st month. Loki led the space fleet to invade New York City, causing huge amounts of damage and attracting the attention of the world. The investigation into missing persons was temporarily suppressed. The appearance of the Loki incident, the devil took a sigh of relief. Li Shu also had to say that the devil was lucky. 22nd month. During this time, you found that your cultivation efficiency was decreasing, and you understood that you were approaching the ceiling again. In 7 months, your ultimate strength has only increased by 14 tons, and your total strength has increased to 138 tons. In addition, after painstaking research, the success rate of the Iceman experiment has been increased from 70% to 85%. On top of that, you finally get over the fact that Iceman can only live in cryogenic temperatures, and Iceman doesn't need a special full set of gear to live in reality. The dawn of victory is just around the corner and you are so excited. See here. Li Shu narrowed his eyes slightly. The last time he started to encounter the ceiling when he was more than 40 tons. Because of the spider flu, his potential was greatly improved, and his ultimate strength was raised to nearly 140 tons before he began to meet the ceiling. It can be seen that the effect of spider flu is still very significant. I just don't know how much he can improve. Are you adding 20 tons? 30 or 40 tons? 138 tons, more than double his actual 60 tons. Even if the simulation stops here, his strength is doubled. In addition, Iceman has finally overcome the low temperature conditions, and the rest only needs to increase the success rate to 100%. It is now 85%, and the task is about to be completed. Seeing this, Li Shu finally got excited. The Iceman experiment will be complete in no time. 23rd month. The disappearance incident was put on the table again, and the FBI, CIA, police and other authorities joined forces to investigate the matter. Soon, they discovered that in recent months, people across the country had also been missing frequently, and they began to investigate. It didn't take long for them to catch a population hunting villain, and learned from his mouth that this was the Demon King's request. He is hunting more people from all over the country using a group of his men. Homeless people, out-of-town young people, prisoners, hunting populations all over the country, all connected. And that rope seems to be the legendary Demon King. When this news came out, it shocked the whole country. The name of the Demon King, like a bell ringing everywhere, is deafening, with the ultimate dark color. It has become a nightmare for countless people. The authorities listed this incident as a top-level dangerous event, and dispatched a large number of human and material resources to investigate the matter and investigate the villains of the hunting population in various places. In addition, by constantly exploring and investigating the prison incident, they found some cobweb horse tracks and began to dig further clues. See here. Li Shu frowned slightly. The disappearances were completely put on the table and caused a terrifying sensation. It was directly characterized as the highest incident, and the authorities directly invested unprecedented manpower and material resources to investigate. It will be a pervasive and comprehensive investigation. In the face of this level of investigation, the devil's affairs will not last long, and it will be completely exposed. At that time, the paradox of terror will fully erupt. What awaits the devil must be a devastating blow, facing the endless final crusade of mankind. As a result, research experiments are bound to be interrupted. The whole situation is developing in an irreversible direction. Li Shu murmured, "The devil, you're running out of time." 24th month. Spider Queen Soria turns Spider-Man into a spider monster, and Spider-Man molts and turns back into a human. Through this period of painful training, you have increased your ultimate strength by another 4 tons, bringing your ultimate strength to 142 tons. The lizard regeneration ability has also been further developed, cutting limb regeneration in half, taking only 6 hours. Plus, you've immersed yourself in your research and managed to increase the success rate of the Iceman experiment to 95%, and you're just one step away from success. Victory seems to be within your grasp, and you're more and more excited. At the same time, a big investigation against the Demon King was launched across the country, and the momentum was overwhelming, sweeping the sky and covering the sky, and the situation took a turn for the worse. In 2 months, the ultimate strength of 4 tons has been raised. In other words, with 2 tons of extreme power per month, the efficiency is reduced by 1/3 compared to the previous one. However, his ultimate strength also successfully reached 142 tons. In addition, the regeneration ability has been further developed, and it only takes 6 hours to reborn the broken limb. Most importantly, Iceman's success rate is 95%, just 5 percentage points away. Seeing this, Li Shu also had to reaffirm the Demon King's ability to work, which is really amazing. As a result, at this time, the big investigation came. Seeing the situation take a sharp turn for the worse, Li Shu's heart sank slightly. Then the simulation emerged, and Li Shu looked at it quickly. 25th month. Spider Queen Soria developed Spider Flu using Spider-Man's molt. In this massive investigation, one by one of your subordinates was arrested, and the rest of your subordinates were also in danger, and hunting behavior was infinitely suppressed. In order to avoid the investigation, you also started tossing and moving away research experiments overnight. With no material for you to study further, your experiment progress is stuck at 95%, can't go further. At the same time, the investigation progress is approaching you step by step, you are about to be exposed, and the whole situation is rushing towards the most critical situation. You are furious, but there is nothing you can do, you can only watch the danger approaching step by step. Seeing this, Li Shu's heart sank. The whole situation ran for the worst. The study got stuck in the last 5%, and couldn't continue. In addition, under the terrifying investigation, the devil is about to be exposed. Once exposed, the experiment is even more impossible to continue, and the devil will usher in a fatal blow. Li Shu frowned. The next simulation emerges. 26th month. Just when the investigation was infinitely approaching you, a turning point suddenly appeared, and a chance for you to breathe came. Spider Flu broke out in New York City, sweeping the city at an unimaginable speed. New York fell for 3 days, panicked the world. Countless superhero and the power of the authorities have been transferred to New York City, and they have no time to take care of you. You finally get a breather, and the bloody hunt is on again. You put your heart and soul into this experiment, running towards final success. The success rate has increased to 96%. The success rate has increased to 97%. The success rate has increased to 98%. There were also some changes in New York City. In the face of the powerful Spider Queen, the human forces are losing ground, and the situation has become very critical. The strongest superhero Motherlander appeared and fought against the Spider Queen, and the battle was broken. In the end, the people of the Motherland were defeated, which caused a sensation in the world. People are terrified to the extreme. At this time, a powerful and unpredictable team of ice attribute ability users appeared, hundreds of people, mighty, to suppress the spider monsters. They are like icy winds in the extreme northern cold region. Wherever they go, all monsters are frozen, and the strength of the Spider Queen continues to decline. Human power gets a respite. At the same time, Little Spider-Man has also developed a serum that removes the virus, and through injections, the spider monsters are constantly being destroyed. The Spider Queen's strength is constantly declining, falling down the altar, and finally being wiped out by humans. Global Carnival. It was only at this time that people discovered that the team of Ice Element ability users who turned the situation around was all wearing white uniforms with a spider on it. This is Spider-Man's team. Spider-Man seems to have saved humanity again. Spider-Man's reputation is rising. In the middle of the day, reach unprecedented peaks. The whole world is frantically shouting a name for Roar, Spider-Man. Even countless people express the hope that Spider-Man can run for the position of the next Supreme Commander. You have devoted yourself to research and know nothing about the outside world. That team is all your success in passing the Iceman experiment in New York this year. The purpose of that uniform is to create a low-temperature environment and enhance super ability. After all, the original Iceman could not get rid of the low-temperature environment. But this action is not under your control. In the face of the terrible man-made disaster in New York City, everyone is at risk, and your New York City laboratory is also in great danger. Green Goblin is afraid that things will be revealed, so they can only take action. They release this team to fight the ubiquitous spider monsters. In the end, without your knowledge, you managed to become the first hero and people regarded you as a god. But the earlier end of the disaster represents the relaunch of the big investigation. You are not relieved, and danger will follow. Li Shu breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that the outbreak of the spider disaster gave the Demon King a wave of life. Watching the success rate rise, Li Shu's mood is slowly picking up. Especially seeing the 98% success rate, the smile on Li Shu's face overflowed. Li Shu continued to look down. I was surprised to find that the natives had a fight with the Spider Queen, and the scene even used the words, shattering. It can be seen from this that the battle between the two is very terrifying, otherwise, the adjective of heaven and earth would not be used. But in the end, the motherland still lost, and the strongest superhero still lost to the Spider Queen. Seeing this, Li Shu clicked his tongue slightly. You know, the people of the motherland are the characters of Superman, which can resist the terrorist existence of a million-ton nuclear strike. Even such an amazing native of the motherland still lost to the Spider Queen, which shocked Li Shu. But Li Shu thinks about it too. After all, the Spider Queen has infected countless people and made New York fall. Millions or even tens of millions of people have turned into spider monsters. Under such a terrifying number, the strength of the Spider Queen has reached an unimaginable level, which is reasonable. He vaguely remembered that the reason why he defeated the Spider Queen in the end was because little Spider-Man developed the serum, and then seemed to control countless real spiders to inject the serum into the bodies of those alienated monsters. In the end, the mutation of countless people was lifted, the strength of the Spider Queen plummeted, and finally the power of countless superhero was gathered to defeat this super boss. It's just that the plot that followed was completely beyond Li Shu's expectations. A powerful team of ice element ability users appeared, constantly freezing monsters, preventing the situation from further deteriorating. Ice ability team. Li Shu was stunned when he saw this. He instantly thought of the Iceman experiment. He continued to look down, and sure enough, this team really came from the Iceman experiment. New City is the base camp of the devil. I have been doing Iceman experiments here before. Although most of them failed, some of them succeeded. In the end, hundreds of Icemans were accumulated. Because the laboratory was in danger, the Iceman was released to block the monster. Unexpectedly, as soon as this team was born, it became the MVP, robbing Little Spider-Man of the limelight and speeding up the end of the disaster. Finally, with Little Spider-Man's serum, the disaster ended early. And because of this eye-catching Iceman team, the Devil's reputation has skyrocketed again, and he has gone straight to the pinnacle of his life and has become the light of mankind. Some people even called for the Devil to run for the Supreme Commander and become the head of a country. Seeing this, Li Shu cracked a bit. This development trend is really far from the big spectrum. Let the Demon King run for the position of Supreme Commander and become the head of a country. This is really a great idea. Isn't this properly pulling humans into hell? And it's the kind that can't be pulled back. But seeing the disaster over, Li Shu raised his heart slightly. Especially after seeing that the big investigation starts at the end, the danger is coming towards the devil. Li Shu's mouth twitched slightly. I won't drop the chain at the last minute. The early end of the disaster is undoubtedly extremely detrimental to the devil. And it was the Icemans of the devil's experiment that caused all this. But there is no way, if Iceman does not leave, then the laboratory will definitely be destroyed and exposed. There are still a bunch of superhero and a large number of troops in New York City. If the laboratory is exposed, then Li Shu will be exposed immediately. So Green Goblin Kim and they definitely had the idea of AA protecting themselves in order to hug the laboratory, so they released the Iceman team. As a result, this led to the early end of the disaster and the direct opening of a major investigation. Simulations continue to emerge. 27th month. The big investigation continues, and the actions against the Demon King and his subordinates continue. Hunting activities have been forced to stop, no more materials are sent to the experiment, and you can only do the final experiment with the only materials. Once the material is gone and the experiment has not been successful, you have no chance at all. Outside, the big investigation swept across the country like a storm. Dig deep into the ground to investigate, and let your villains fall into the French Open. They follow the villain to investigate further, quickly approaching the truth and approaching you. In the face of this level of investigation, you can't hide at all, and in the end, they found where your experiment was. The news that the truth about the Demon King is about to be revealed spread out, causing a sensation all over the world, celebrating all over the world. Countless people are very happy. An army, a superhero, is rushing towards where you are. You are about to face a terrifying blow. To protect you, a large number of secrets from your loyal villain are swarming from all directions. The Jade Emperor Jin Pei has transferred a large number of subordinates from all over the world. For them, the power of the Demon King cannot be violated. 28th month. East Pao. A superhero, an army came from all over the place. There are many familiar faces in superhero: Iron Man, Little Spider-Man, Captain America, the Fantastic Four and more. Those troops were even more fully armed, armed to the teeth. The goal of these people is you, and they want to get rid of you, the Demon King who scourges the world. Your experiment is entering the most critical moment, and you still need some time. The arrival of the demon army will put your experiment in jeopardy, and it will fall short at any time. The outside world is full of confidence, because they blocked the Eastern District to death, and the Demon King cannot escape this time. Everyone agrees that you will be taken down in an instant. They are running towards your building with terrifying power. You are about to be taken. Your experiment is about to be terminated. You hear the deafening footsteps and roars outside, and your heart sinks, but you keep calm and take the time to continue your experiment. You don't know if you can succeed, but you know you don't have a choice. The success rate has finally been increased to 99% by you, and you are only one step away. You concentrate on continuing to experiment. Just when the demon army was about to wipe out this place, a mutation suddenly occurred. A large number of villains and countless subordinates of the extreme way poured out like a tide, roaring loudly, and collided with the army of demon slayers. A terrible war has broken out. The sound of gunfire continued, and a large number of supernatural forces were erupting. Every moment, a large number of people die, and human life is like a must. Rivers of blood are flowing, roads are breaking, buildings are collapsing, and the whole city is shaking. Looking at the large number of supervillains, looking at the countless Jidao subordinates, the whole world was shocked. No one thought that you still have such a huge force in your hands, and they are so loyal. Only then did they realize that they underestimated this Demon King. This is a real king. This is the real head of demons. Human society is even more certain to destroy you, this demon, otherwise you will be endangered. 29th month. Your subordinates bought you a little breathing time. You continued to experiment. You almost increased the efficiency to the point of madness, and wanted to break through the final difficulty. Although the team defending the Demon King is beyond people's imagination, in the face of the larger Justice Coalition army, the Demon Guardian army will not be able to withstand it for long. However, these people did not have the slightest fear, did not flinch, and fought the Justice Coalition to the end, desperately trying to hold back the enemies. Green Goblin fought hard against the enemy, and his wounds were getting worse and worse, bleeding profusely, and his final movements became extremely slow and laborious. Iron Man coldly persuaded to surrender. Surrender, your body can't handle it anymore. Green Goblin laughed wildly. I would die for him. After speaking, he stood upright and stopped moving. Finally, he died of exhaustion, but there was still a fearless and wild laughter on his face. Seeing this, Iron Man was slightly moved. This is not an example, but a microcosm of the entire Weiwei army. Faced with the overwhelming attack, the seriously injured Lizard Man didn't flinch, he just shouted angrily, for the Demon King. Under the terrifying attack, the Lizard Men were killed. He knelt on the spot, his eyes were terrifying. There was no fear on his face. Electric Man's energy was exhausted, he recovered his normal body, and countless bullets flew towards him. Countless bullets beat him into a sieve. A lot of blood gurgled out, dyed him into blood. In the blood-stained eyes, there is still no fear, no regret, only endless killing intent and coldness. A roar resounded in the army of demon guardians. For His Majesty the Demon King, the bloody battle will last until the last moment. For Lord Demon King, blood stand to death. Although the Demon Guardian army was tenacious and fought hard to resist, it was ultimately invincible in the face of a larger number of Justice Coalition forces. The villains died on this battlefield, covered in blood, with countless terrifying wounds on their bodies, extremely terrifying, but none of these people flinched. The Demon Wei army has been retreating steadily and is about to be broken. Your last experiment also seems to be coming to an end. At this time, a brigade of all-white uniforms appeared behind the Justice League. Seeing this team, the Justice Coalition suddenly became imposing, because this is Spider-Man's team. With the Spider-Man team, the Demon King's army will be even more vulnerable. As a result, at this time, the Ice Element Ability Brigade launched an attack on the Justice Coalition. The Justice League was caught off guard. The coalition forces are sensational, and the outside world is also in an uproar. No one expected that this team would actually attack the Justice Alliance. After all, this is Spider-Man's team. Who is Spider-Man? That is the light of mankind, the belief of countless people. A burly man walked away from the Iceman Brigade. It was Jin Bing. He came from New York City with the Iceman team. Seeing Green Goblin and others killed in battle, his eyes were full of anger. He waved his arms and shouted angrily, "Kill these bastards and protect your majesty. Protect your majesty. Protect your majesty." A loud roar emanated from the two guards of the demon army, like thunder, and the momentum was so great that it shook the sky and the earth. The two army of guards and demons attacked wildly towards the Justice Coalition. The Iceman Brigade attacked the Justice Coalition frantically. Watching this scene, it was difficult for countless people to understand. They couldn't figure out why Spider-Man's team was attacking the Justice League. Could Spider-Man also belong to the Demon King? Humans' beliefs are actually those of the Demon King? This incident is like a super nuclear bomb, causing a sensation in the world. It hits everyone's heart. Countless people exploded directly. It is really hard for them to believe that the light of mankind, the belief of mankind, is actually from the Demon King faction. When little Spider-Man saw this scene, it was like a lightning strike, and his whole body was almost hit by the enemy. The situation changed again, and the Justice Coalition army was attacked by the enemy, which made it a little uncomfortable for a while. But this also successfully delayed the Justice League offensive. With this wave of procrastination, you finally broke through the final hurdle, increasing the success rate of the Iceman experiment to 100%. You do the latest Iceman experiment on yourself, and it's the top and most painful Iceman experiment, which allows you to gain a more powerful freeze ability. This kind of experiment, ordinary people or even ordinary extraordinary people may not be able to withstand it, but you have a 100-ton physique, you can withstand it. After the top Iceman experiment that hurts to the bone, you have successfully acquired the powerful freeze ability. There is the sound of slaughter outside, and the siege of the enemy like a net. You know you can't escape. But you have nothing to fear. But you understand that you have to give an account to the person who fought blood for you. You do Iceman experiments for the dozens of people left, and then dozens of Icemans come out fresh, plus 100 or so Iceman guarding you in the lab. You still have more than 200 Iceman in hand. You don your hardened spider battlesuit, take your final guard, and walk out of the building. 29th month. You walked out of the building. The whole world was red, as if it had been infected with blood. One after another high-rise buildings collapsed into ruins, with countless corpses on them, blazing flames burning on them, and endless blood flowing on them. It's like an apocalyptic scene. You see, your subordinates have become corpses, are standing in the rubble, are lying in the rubble. You can't see a trace of fear on their faces. They fought and died for you with no regrets because they followed you and were loyal to you. In your cold and cruel eyes, there was a trace of waves. You know, you had to give them an account. Seeing you coming out in a white cobweb battlesuit, the entire battlefield seemed silent for a second. You alone have caught everyone's attention. The Justice League and the people who saw all this through the lens of the outside world all had their pupils shaken. The outside world guessed that you were the devil's person, but they still couldn't believe it until you came out and verified their conjecture. What happened next further shocked everyone. You look towards the battlefield, under your strong physique. Your voice is like a bell, your tone is cold but firm. My lord, I should live and die with you. I will never live in the world. Jin Ping looked at you from a distance, and he waved his arm. Live and die with your majesty. Hearing your will, the blood of all your subordinates is boiling, and they feel honored and honored. Everyone roared and responded to your words. Live and die with your majesty. The voices of countless people gathered together to form a thunderous sound, and the earth and the sea of clouds seemed to tremble. The roar of the Demon Way army was like thunder, smashing into everyone's heart, leaving countless people's heads blank. Spider-Man turned out to be the devil. The greatest superhero in history turned out to be the devil himself. This is something that no one expected. The faith of light and the support of darkness are the same person. This makes it difficult for countless people to accept that their belief is the most evil person. Huge amounts of split, almost want to tear the hearts of countless people. In many people's minds, Spider-Man hunts criminals and hunts innocents with the Demon King. These two events coincide at once. All hunting, all catching people. It turns out that Spider-Man has always been the devil, and Spider-Man's crazy hunting of criminals is actually because he has huge amounts of demand for living people, in order to satisfy his conspiracy. Little Spider-Man looks at you and almost collapses. Since his debut, he has used you as an example and worked hard to get close to you, but he didn't expect you to be the devil who killed countless people. Then came the endless anger, the anger of being deceived. So are the rest. Little Spider-Man was furious. I'm going to kill you. A part of the Justice League is coming towards you. You lead the Iceman guards into the war, and the brutal slaughter begins. As soon as you waved your hand, the cold air like a tidal wave poured out, and a 100-story building was frozen in an instant, and the enemies above were all turned into ice sculptures. You waved your hand again, and the terrifying cold air broke out, sweeping a large number of people from the Justice Coalition, all turned into ice sculptures. Your terrifying power made countless people tremble, but no one thought that you had such amazing strength. That's the result of your Iceman experiment, and that's why you're doing it. Because the upper limit of the freezing ability is extremely high, if it is developed to the depths, it can freeze a large city or even a country with a wave of your hand. Iron Man shatters the ice on his body and attacks you angrily. You burst out, blasting your steel battlesuit into flames, sending Iron Man flying, seriously injured. The Hulk rushes out, punches you, and leaves Iron Man. While you were using the power of ice, you were using your powerful physique, and countless people died in your hands. The temperature in the entire Eastern District dropped from more than 20 degrees to more than 10 degrees, which was extremely terrifying. Faced with an overwhelming number of Justice League troops, you keep getting wounded. Although your healing ability is strong, healing is far less rapid than wounding. The injuries on your body are getting heavier and heavier, like a bloody man. Meanwhile, your minions are constantly dying, but none of them back down. Even before they die, they will leave the last sentence in the world, "For your majesty." Every time you hear a word like this, you will be slightly moved. At the end of the battle, there are not many of your own people around you, and the crowd is full of enemies. Your injury is also very serious, and your movements have been slowed down a lot. But you're still fighting because you're going to die standing up, that's your promise. In the end, the only remaining ice power was released, freezing everything around him. You dragged your steps toward the apex of a ruin, and finally stood up with difficulty. The blood-red sunshine is like a cloak, draped over your back. Your front is against the light, and it is dark. A pair of blood-stained red eyes, looking at the dead men below, opened his mouth slightly, wanting to say something. But in the end, he didn't say anything and just stood there, facing the light. When the Justice Alliance arrived, they found that the Demon King had already died from exhaustion, but the corpse stood stubbornly and refused to fall. On the Demon King's body, people found 3,782 wounds of the size of a large file, and the blood had almost dried up. This is the most tragic corpse people have ever seen. He is the devil and the #1 hero. His name is Li Shu. He was 19 years old then. This simulation is over. The number of simulation days is 29 months, and the cooling time is 29 hours. Analog level. S. When the simulation level reaches S, you can solidify a golden level or an ability below the golden level, or randomly reward 2. Please choose to inherit an ability. The inherited ability will definitely appear in the next simulation. Save the current strength to the host, 142 tons of ultimate power. Severed limb regeneration ability, telepathy ability. The power of ice. The perfect lizard potion recipe. Iceman experiment memory with 100% success rate. Save. Next moment. A terrifying force poured into Li Shu's body. His fitness is constantly improving. Every cell is growing rapidly. At the same time, his cells are undergoing rapid changes, and a more powerful regeneration ability is bred. After a moment, a powerful and huge force poured out from Li Shu's body. He could feel that every cell was full of energy, full of explosive power. 142 tons of ultimate power. He clenched his fists, a smile on his face. This power is too strong. His ultimate strength skyrocketed from 60 tons to 142 tons. A terrifying giant of 82 tons, equivalent to 4 normal Spider-Man. In addition, there is the powerful regeneration ability of the Broken Limb Reborn. He could clearly feel that the physical cells were more active and full of vitality. This is because cells have more powerful healing and regeneration abilities. This makes Li Shu very happy, and his life-saving ability is stronger. Immediately after, an extremely cold and majestic force poured into Li Shu's body. Each of his cells is rapidly evolving, metamorphosis. Ice's imprint was carved into his cells, allowing each of his cells to withstand the power of ice. A force of ice poured out from each of his cells, and finally converged into a majestic force of ice in his body. This is the power of ice powerful enough to seal the huge 100-story building. Feel the majestic cold power in the body. Li Shu clicked his tongue slightly. Too big, too amazing, beyond his imagination. No wonder the devil is desperately trying to fiddle with this power. This power is indeed very powerful. His mind moved. A faint cold air flowed out. The temperature of the entire room began to plummet. There was even a faint hoarfrost condensed on the table, which was developing towards freezing. Seeing this, Li Shu stopped immediately. The temperature rises slowly. This is just a drop in the bucket of the ice power in his body. It's a pity that he is indoors now, and it is not easy to use this power to test the effect. When you find an opportunity, find a no man's land, you can give this power a good try. The terrifying power of the frozen building was completely released. Thinking of this, Li Shu couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth. At the same time, a cool and comfortable force poured into his mind. His brain cells began to change. A special spiritual force was born in my mind and grew rapidly. Telepathy ability from perfect lizard potion. Next moment. Boom. This special spiritual power surged out and rushed to all directions. The spirit stretched out, and it was darkness. But soon, in the darkness, countless red lights lit up. Li Shu saw reptiles made of red light, various reptiles. Snakes, turtles, lizards, geckos, crocodiles and more. Some are running, some are walking, some are lying down, some are hunting, and the state is different and strange. Plus, Li Shu can even feel their emotions. This perception range is very far, after all, it is perception within a radius of 3 kilometers. This is the special telepathy ability of the lizard elixir, being able to know all reptiles within 3 kilometers and control them. As his mind moved, he entered the body of a snake. In an instant, a faint red light appeared in the snake's eyes. Next moment, he saw what the lizard saw and heard some animal calls. This seems to be a zoo, with a large number of the same lizards in sight. With a thought, he gave the lizard an order. Then the lizard crawled on the ground as he thought, crawling in a circle. He immediately made the lizard jump forward again, but the scene was extraordinarily strange, and only Li Shu enjoyed it. Above the lizard park, there is a camera dedicated to observing the lizards in the park, and it glows red. In the monitoring room not far away, there were a few people sitting in it, and they occasionally looked at the surveillance to see if there was anything wrong with the animals inside. If something goes wrong, they immediately send someone to check. A man is watching the surveillance. On one screen, it is divided into 6 monitoring screens. Suddenly his eyes stopped on one of the surveillance screens. He took a careful look. Thinking that my eyes were dizzy, I quickly zoomed in on the surveillance screen and took a closer look. Afterwards, he let out a strange cry, so frightened that his seat bounced up, his scalp tingling, and his bones were horrified. His change instantly attracted the attention of the others around him. What's the matter? Did a thief enter our garden? Sheet. Can't you be so daring? Several people quickly looked at the screen. Shit. Fake. Several people were so frightened that they took 2 steps back, their backs getting chills. I saw on the screen, a lizard was jumping forward, like a frog. They had never seen this battle, lizards jumping forward, unheard of. In the distance, Li Shu hadn't experimented enough, so he thought again. Suddenly, all the lizards on the ground flashed a faint red light in their eyes. Subsequently, clap clap clap. All the lizards, like ghosts, started jumping in the rearing tank. The people in the monitoring room saw this scene. I just felt the endless cold coming out from my back. What a hell. Then they saw an even more shocking scene. I saw that all the lizards were arranged in a neat and orderly manner, in several rows, neat and tidy. Then, jumping forward neatly and uniformly, the faces of several people in the monitoring room instantly turned green, and the whole person was completely cracked. A timid monitor saw this, rolled his eyes, and passed out on his chair. The rest of the people saw this and quickly rescued the colleague who passed out. Inside the room, after Li Shu experimented with his special telepathy ability, he withdrew his ability. He didn't know that what he just did directly scared one person unconscious, and also caused several people's mentality to explode, leaving huge amounts of psychological shadows. After Li Shu felt his ability, he nodded in satisfaction. This ability is still very good. Can control the reptiles, fill his eyes with reptiles, or just do other things with these guys, watch, attack, tip off, etc. The only pity is that his telepathy ability is too single. Can't perceive the surrounding environment, can't act as an eye. You can't spy on other people's minds, or probe into other people's memories, and you can't control other people's spirits. Li Shu touched his chin. Maybe next time he can think of a way to get a mental ability to perceive the environment, or something else. In addition to these several abilities, in Li Shu's mind, there is also the recipe for the perfect lizard potion, as well as the complete memory of the Iceman experiment with a 100% success rate. These two are babies. A super soldier capable of forging stronger than Captain America. A super ability user who can create the ability to use the freeze ability. This thing can be used by those close to him to enhance their strength. He quickly filtered the relevant memories of these two items. Li Shu expressed great satisfaction, immediately. Again, he focused on what happened after the simulation was over. This time the evaluation has reached S grade, and there is one more option for him to choose. That's 2 instant rewards. He can either choose to solidify an ability with gold or less, or choose 2 random rewards. Li Shu pondered upon seeing this. In this simulation, he didn't draw the golden ability, so he couldn't solidify the golden ability at all. It would also be nice if the purple ability could be cured. It's just that his purple ability, Cold Blood Demon, is absolutely impossible to solidify. After all, it will distort the character's character and turn himself into a devil. Thinking of the brutal, cold-blooded and ruthless devil who was equally ruthless towards himself in the simulation, he shook his head slightly. So if you want to cure it, you can only cure the blue ability. But, S-level evaluation, to cure the blue ability. Why does Li Shu feel like a waste of money? Therefore, the best choice can only be 2 random rewards. It's just, I don't know what this random reward will reward. If he is rewarded with 2 wastes, then he will lose a lot. But on second thought, he can bless the man of child of luck. It can't be too bad. Immediately, he said, I choose 2 random rewards. Choose 2 random rewards. You get a vibranium shield, from this world. You get a small bag of fairy beans, from Dragon Ball World. Do you want to receive rewards? Seeing this, Li Shu was slightly taken aback. Good guy. Random rewards can also randomly produce good things from other worlds. Looking at Shendu from the Dragon Ball World, Li Shu grinned. This is a well-known good thing, but it is a magic medicine for life-saving and fighting. Even if there is only 1 breath, as long as you take this thing, you can instantly return to the best state and be resurrected with full blood. It can instantly restore physical strength and energy in extreme fatigue. Only physical strength and energy can be fully recovered. Replenish blood in blue. A fairy bean is almost equivalent to a life. Although his healing ability is very powerful and can even regenerate limbs, it will consume cellular energy and physical strength, and it is not unlimited healing. Furthermore, his recovery ability is powerful, but he can't achieve instant recovery, especially limb regeneration, which takes 6 hours to recover. And the fairy beans can be recovered in an instant. Therefore, the effect of fairy beans on him is also huge amounts of. Li Shu touched his chin, wondering if he could grow this thing. After all, a small bag of fairy beans will always run out. The so-called bean raw beans, endless fun. Sustainability is the last word. You can try it later, but if it doesn't work, you can use your ability to plant or research. After all, the ability is unreasonable. An enhanced version of the blue research ability can directly research the perfect lizard medicine that even top biologists can't research. Research ability seems to be able to forcibly break the limitation of thinking and think of something farther. So he didn't believe it anymore. With the perverted ability, he couldn't grow a little fairy bean. The only thing left is the vibranium shield. Not to mention, Captain America's signature gear. It is also a top-quality equipment, and the defense is strong and scary. Last time, he blasted out with 60 tons of force. Captain America didn't die, just vomited a few mouthfuls of blood. It can be seen that this thing is really amazing in defense. Other weapons can't break the defense of this thing at all, and it can almost be called indestructible. Although he has a hardened spider battlesuit, it's nowhere near as strong as this shield. The vibranium dagger, although it is also extremely strong, is indeed too small, and it seems a little awkward to use. Li Shu smiled. Both of these rewards are pretty cool. He is very satisfied. Li Shu said immediately, receive the reward. Next moment, a small bag and a shield appeared out of nowhere. Li Shu's eyes were quick and his hands were quick, and he grabbed 2 things in an instant. He waved his shield, which was quite smooth. He looked at the pattern on the shield and said, the pattern on this has to be changed, otherwise people will think I'm following Captain America. As for what pattern to replace it with, Li Shu thought for a while. It can be replaced with platinum and gold, with a spider engraved on it, but it can be combined with his cobweb battlesuit. After thinking about it, he put the shield aside. Opening the small bag, there were only a few fairy beans in it. He counted 6 fairy beans. Immediately, Li Shu's face fell. Grandma's legs. 6 fairy beans, this is too few. This system is too stingy, can't you send a few more? With only 6 fairy beans, Li Shu had to use it very carefully. Absolutely use it with caution, at least until you figure out how to grow fairy beans. Otherwise, it would be a real injustice when the fairy bean planting method was developed and the fairy bean disappeared. Li Shu made up his mind to start looking for a way to grow this thing in the next simulation. Even if you don't have a research ability, you can study this thing in the simulation first, and maybe there will be a surprise. After all, the technology in this world is much more developed, and there are all kinds of bizarre powers. After watching random rewards, it is to choose the ability that needs to be inherited. Li Shu looked at his 3 abilities: Cold-Blooded Demon, purple; Charming, blue; Scholar, blue. Li Shu looked at these 3 abilities and thought about it for a while. Li Shu chose Cold-Blooded Demon. After all, this ability is the highest. Furthermore, according to the previous experience, this ability can also enhance the effect of other abilities. The ability of Scholar has been strengthened. There is also the charm of the villain. It is estimated that it also has a bonus effect. Otherwise it would not be so outrageous, conquering so many villains, abruptly from the Ruthless Devil, upgrade to the Ruthless Devil. In fact, Scholar, this ability is easy to use. Although it is blue, it has high practical value. If possible, he also wants to preserve this ability. It's a pity that he could only save one ability, so he had to reluctantly give up Scholar. After thinking about it, Li Shu said, I choose to inherit the Cold Blood Demon. Inherit the purple ability, Cold Blood Demon. The next simulation will definitely appear. Li Shu touched his chin, wondering what ability will appear next time. At that time, what effect will it have when it is paired with Cold Blood Demon? He was also looking forward to it. He took another look at the mock record. I can't help but sigh that the devil Li Shu is cold-blooded and brutal, but ability is indeed leverage, meticulous in his work, and pursuit of perfection. Be tough on others, be tough on yourself. Maybe that's why so many people follow him. In the end, when he saw all the subordinates of the devil bow down and die for the devil, he sighed endlessly. These people are really loyal to the devil. Seeing that the devil finally died in battle with his subordinates, he finally stood against the light and died resolutely, carrying more than 3,000 wounds all over his body. He felt some inexplicable complex emotions churning. At the last moment, the devil is indeed like a man, and that moment is indeed very charming. The devil's life can be regarded as magnificent, and it can be regarded as an epic experience. Li Shu immediately thought about his spider ability. His spider ability has already started to touch the ceiling, and it will be difficult to increase his strength soon because he touches the ceiling. To continue to improve strength, or develop a more powerful cobweb. Either increase the potential of the spider ability. Either look for other potions, experiments, or ways to improve your strength. If you want to make a more powerful cobweb, you need research abilities above the blue level. As long as you win this kind of ability, you can further develop a more powerful cobweb. Hard as iron, lacing as needles, is the next stage of cobweb. Li Shu thought of Doflamingo's thread fruit again. His thread is almost transparent, thin and extremely hard, and can easily cut steel. Can kill invisible. Didn't know his cobweb could reach this point. As for the potential to increase spider ability. In addition to the spider virus, breaking and rebirth, which can strengthen the potential, he can't think of other things for the time being. Maybe it's time to study again. Finally, look for other potions, experiments, or abilities that enhance your power. Li Shu pondered for a while. The perfect version of Extremis or Black Panther's heart-shaped herbal decoction are good choices. Extremis in Iron Man 3 is a defective version. The host that can withstand the flawed version of strengthening can achieve ultra-high temperature of the whole body, so that the generated high temperature can be used to melt steel with bare hands. It also increases some physical strength and a considerable self-healing ability. However, this version is extremely flawed and unstable, and it may self-immolate or explode. This is also the reason why Iron Man despised this technology in the movie. But the perfect version of Extremis is completely different, if it can resist virus transformation. Not only can it greatly enhance the physical strength, but also strengthen the physical strength, making the physical body as hard as steel. It can also greatly improve the reaction speed. The host can even obtain the ability to spray high-temperature flames from the mouth and emit laser beams from the hand. In a certain parallel universe, Iron Man used this virus to strengthen itself and increase the reaction speed to a terrifying level, so as to achieve the unity of human and armor. But this thing, if you can't bear it, you will need Deadman, and if you can resist it, you will benefit a lot. The full version of Extremis is a good choice. Then there's Black Panther's heart-shaped herbal decoction. Drinking this thing does not directly improve the strength. Rather, it is to establish a spiritual connection with the Black Panther god Bast. The leopard god will give the user extremely sharp 5 senses, beyond the limit of strength, speed, stamina, reaction, and resistance to magic ability. This thing not only strengthens the physical strength, but also increases the magic resistance. However, this thing needs to establish a connection with the leopard god, and it also needs to be studied and considered. By the way, There is also number 5 medicine, which makes a batch of superheroes' top medicines such as the motherland. Definitely, this also depends on the probability. After all, some people get injections and get garbage abilities. For example, they can't live without water, and they fart when they walk. Some people are injected, and they are so powerful that they are outrageous. For example, the world's first hero, the motherland, a replica of Superman, is equivalent to getting Superman's ability.